Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Squat Cobbler. I am Dr. Mike, Edificial Pagan on everything. And joining me, as always, the Squatanon shaman himself.
Hello, everybody. This is Kelly at, I'm processing that, at KELLYTHUL on Twitter and Instagram.
Today, we are back for a follow up on our complaints episode. We got a little bit of a resolution to one of our issues, and then I have a whole new issue that I want to complain about for a second. This will probably be a short one, which means it'll be 4 hours long. And Kelly, did you have any complaints this week, or is this just going to be all me?
Well, I got some complaints about you, which we can go into at some point in time.
That's fair.
But yeah, I can probably, I can, I can probably add some additional dimension to some of the things. But I think your core, it's not a core complaint. Well, no, it's not. But we'll talk about that. But no, I think yours is good. It was also nice that in the comment sections on that video, we did have some folks weighing in on particularly Mike's situation, which was kind of cool to hear, and some suggestions on controller mapping, but we'll have to see on that. But do appreciate hearing from some folks on either what they've done and this worked right on either of our situations or all that. So please continue to do that. We really like to hear from everybody and appreciate the community stuff that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate that. And we were able to get me onto ArcadeNet. Kelly and I did a screen sharing session. We were able to walk through it. They really aggressively push you having to sign up for this, but we were able to get past that. Now, here's what's interesting. So Kelly was able to point out that when we went, what was it, back into the menu, it gave me the option of logging out. So I was logged in. It just does everything it can to make it appear like I wasn't to try and force me to pay $20. Here's what's interesting, though, because I swore, and even in taking screenshots, that did not show on the mobile version, and I was correct. I went back to the mobile version, and in the mobile version, there is nothing indicating that. Even going back to the same place that we were, that is not there, giving me the option to sign out. So if you go through the mobile version, it pretty much only may lead you to believe that you have to pay $20 for the free sign up. And even on the desktop version, it aggressively pushes this $20 onto you.
Yeah, even when you're established as a long-standing ArcadeNet member at this point in time, I get the same pop-up, and it is constructed in a way that a lot of times you'll get hey, this is an offer, consider this. Maybe this would be a cool thing. And it could be, yes, I want to do it, or no, I'll pass right now. But this doesn't come up that way. This comes up as like a warning screen that says, you're not subscribed.
Yeah.
Click here to subscribe.
Here's what you need to do. Pay $20.
Yeah. And and I'm, maybe they get a few, maybe there's some people just give up. Okay, I guess that's what I need to do. But it is aggressive. In terms of just really pushing that. And I have mentioned in past shows, and I will continue to stand by, compared to an HBO Max account, a Netflix account, even really what you do with, I think, I'm not familiar with what you pay for like Xbox stuff and all that, but I don't think anything runs at $20 a month. I think that and it's cool features, but it's not superior to some other things that you can for $14.99 or sometimes $9.99 a month. Get some other capabilities and services. So I still think they're pricing it too high, but
yeah, conceptually I love it, but there just needs to be more established. There needs to be a lot more on there. The point is way too high. If there was a library of thousands and thousands of great games, sure, I could see where they're charging a premium for that. That's not the case, though. It's still a somewhat limited library.
Yep.
So, and it's still relatively new. So you don't know if this is something that is going to run into issues, going to go down frequently. Is it even going to last at all? It's still, I feel, too new for that. So that's such, to me, that just makes that buy-in that much steeper at $20 a month.
Yep. Yeah. I just yeah, I'm reluctant. It does seem to the one part that is getting me a little twitchy, but I just can't go in at $20 a month. I'm not going to budge on that. So it's just the
No.
way it's going to be. But I get tempted at least when it does seem to open the door to not only the cloud pinball stuff that's out there that Mike and I as Peon standard ArcadeNet members will also have access to, a series of games there. But there's another family of pinball that appears to kind of open up with that subscription that looks pretty sweet. I'm not sure it's any superior to what you can do when you go to like a Steam alternative and kind of do that as well, but it's interesting to see. So, but we were able to through the screen share and ignoring all signs that were indicating things were not well. It's like, no, I think things are well. I think we're okay.
If you just keep pushing past their demands for $20, you'll eventually get there. Unless you're on a mobile device. Mobile device, keep closing that out, keeps popping back up. I did go into the menu, does not give you the same indicator that it does on the desktop version. Maybe that's my phone. I'm using an Android. Maybe if somebody has an iPhone, they try it out on there. It could be a different experience. I don't know. I know that certain apps, there's a financial institution that I do work for. I know that our app is different on an Android than it is on an iPhone. Certain, and not because of the way it's designed, just functionality issues and the difference between the operating systems. Could be something like that. I don't know. But going at it on an Android is, like Kelly said, if you keep pushing past it on the desktop, we got there. On an Android device, you do not get there.
Interesting. Yep. So and so thanks to some of some of the folks that do watch the show. We did have a few people comment. I know at least of one guy said, "Hey, I was able to get in without a problem." So it's good to kind of hear that. And so I don't know if I described it as without a problem with Mike and I, but we got there.
We got there, though.
We got there, and so
Yeah.
the stage is set for us to kind of eventually do a couple more shows on for those of you who maybe aren't as familiar with doing some of the co-play stuff or using the chat, the voice chat and all that. We're going to gain some experience there and share our experience on that. If that's useful to you, great. Once I think the show, when we actually do that and we're actually up and running and good too, we'll obviously be more than willing to share what our handles are as well. So if you're interested in friending us up on the process, that would be great as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely want to hear from you guys on any platform that we're gaming on. But yeah, we're on there, so more content is coming, luckily.
Yep. And so, any new complaints, Mike?
Oh yeah. So Kelly, of course, got Super Console X, made some great content around that. We're gonna be, playing all kinds of games. We're looking to do some game reviews, actually, and obviously something like Super Console X is a great platform for that because there's so many different emulators that are already built into it and games and things like that legally. Of course, we wouldn't play any illegal ROMs, all legal ROMs. So I decided, hey, I'll order myself a Super Console X. It was listed on Amazon. I paid a little bit more, I think, than you did, Kelly.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was slightly more, but it's supposedly like the upgraded one with an extra 10,000 games on there and an extra system or two. Great. Ordered it. Amazon, in a surprising turn of events, because the last few things that I ordered all came late, which we've had some weird weather here, so totally understandable. But in a surprising turn of events, I believe at 5 a.m. the next morning, it was delivered to me, which I was ecstatic about, but should have been suspicious right there. That should have been my first clue. Something's going to go terribly wrong here. But cracked it open. I knew the controllers it came with aren't any good from Kelly's own personal experience and from other reviews that I had seen. But I figured just for the purposes of setting it up, let me use these controllers. Get there. Everything started right away. Everything looked great. I'm flipping through, and there was a couple of systems I wanted to check out right away, including Virtual Boy. So start scrolling through. No Virtual Boy.
No menu.
Then I was like,
no menu for Virtual Boy.
nope. Then I start scrolling through and I was like, okay, all right, well, maybe, Nintendo had something to say about that or whatever it was. Let me check out what's going on with 32X. That's a system I'm a huge fan of, huge defender of, even though there's a lot of people who don't like it. Scrolled over, no 32X. So I was like, all right, well, what about Sega CD? And if I remember correctly, the Sega CD offerings are pretty limited
Yep.
on there either way, but which makes sense. I know CD-ROM games can be tricky with emulators and things sometimes, and so, but figured check out what's on there because I believe Final Fight CD was supposed to be included on there, which is a great side-scrolling beat 'em up game. Scroll over, no Sega CD. So I was like, huh,
And you
something seems really off
and you
here
got the version with more games.
with more games. So I'm looking at the packaging and it says, includes 50,000 games or whatever it is, 45,000, 50,000. So I was like, oh, let me go to all games and see what's going on here. See what we're looking at here. It was a little over 20,000 games that were included in the more expensive 50,000 game version. So as I'm looking through it and I'm checking it against the system list that's on the side of the box, half of them are missing probably. So that's not great. So I was like, all right,
But you still
I
have 20,000 games you can
right.
play, right, Mike?
Yeah, I was like, I still have 20,000 games. Maybe I'm being a little too first world problem-y here because it's not like I couldn't legally find those ROMs and add them to it if I wanted to. So I was like, all right, well, let me just, jump into a couple games. Tried the first game and get an error screen. that what's the main corporate Emulex that
Emulac.
uses? Yeah, Emulec that uses. I got an Emulec crashed screen and had to start over. Okay. Try another game, same thing. Let me try a different system. Go over there, same thing. 10, 15 games in, all crash. And so decided to go into the game settings because some of them do give you like a different emulator to try with them, which is something I'm familiar with my Raspberry Pi setup. Tried those, same thing. So I tried dozens of games, different emulators on them. Every time just doesn't work. So basically what I got is a box with a list of 20,000 games on it when you launch it that apparently though no working ROMs or anything on there and is missing most of the content that it claims to have.
Yep. Not good. So,
No.
so you may be reluctant to take it. So I assume that's going back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I went. You bought this through Amazon.
Correct.
I ended up kind of jumping through I don't know if it's actually the company site, but it seemed close to the company site at least, where I got mine. But I was super close to getting it from Retro Rays, he's on Facebook. They're on Facebook, and they do seem to be a little bit more attentive to customer service. That if someone gets something and it's not working, that they'll work a little harder to make it right. So if this wasn't kind of Amazon serving you up a Retro Rays offering, you might want to take a kind of jump onto Facebook, do a search on Retro Rays and kind of check them out a little bit, because that was almost where I got it, and because at that point in time I was like, I'm not as familiar, and I just want to get as close to the actual source as I could of the manufacturer. I'm not sure I did necessarily, but I at least tried. But if you want to give Super Console X another shot, because would love for you to have Virtual Boy games, because it's nothing cooler than having Virtual Boy games to play. That could be a route. I think you're going to find it that price point, somewhere in between, closer to what I paid, but below what you paid for the upgraded version. What I'm a little bummed about on the version I got, and this is a tricky thing with Super Console X, is there seems to be like so many iterations in terms of what's on this particular device. Is that it can handle Amiga emulation, and anybody who's listened to the show knows that I was a very proud and highly enjoyed Amiga user for a long time, and I would love to get back to some of the Amiga games. and the Super Console X has the capability for that emulation. However, my version was devoid. It did have Virtual Boy and 32X, but it did not have any Amiga.
I would have been happy if my version had anything.
Yeah, you're easy to please. Yeah, that'd be fair. But yeah, so you've basically got not even the whole list of what was supposed to be on there, but none of it worked. So, yep. Well, rub some dirt on it, and then decide if you want to make another run. But if you do decide to make another run, at least poke around RetroRays a little bit. You might get lucky second round if you even have the appetite anymore. So that's your call. Yeah, I'm beyond my continual mapping issues. Still haven't resolved that. I need to get back and dedicate a little bit more time because I'm extremely hopeful that we talked recently on a show where I explained that the Doom experience is not as rewarding without a trigger, without a fire button. I think I might have a workaround on that, but I still need to kind of do that mapping and see. But the on-the-go option on the AtGames Ultimate to be able to kind of pull some stuff in there seems like a pretty good way to extend the cabinet out. But I gotta continue to wrestle because the other part was Wolfenstein, the online game. Enemy Territory is the online version that some of us, not Mike, but some of us played online a while back. Super fun.
I wasn't invited.
Nope. I don't know how that happened, Mike. I'm sure. But I'm having actually a hard time getting that to run on the PC successfully again, which is how I played it the first time. But I really want to get that working so that I can either stream it to my Legends or just kind of bring it over more on the on-the-go approach so that I could actually play that game with arcade-style controllers because I think that would be pretty cool. So we'll continue to quest. So if there's anybody out there who's successfully playing Enemy Territory these days and wants to point me the direction for there, because I can download software that I get into the environment, but I can never kind of connect anymore to play. So
After this conversation, though, I think I'm about to go legally get a ROM of Wolfenstein 3D and throw that on the Atari Fight Stick.
There you go. That would be really good. That'd be fun. Yeah, and that's so we've talked in previous shows. The Legends Pinball kind of still is the holy grail. I'm kind of next big purchase I'm looking at, but after monkeying around with my Super Console X and doing some other things there, I started to go, boy, you know what? I get that Atari Fight Stick. I pop that unit inside my Atari Fight Stick. That could be pretty cool. But it is big. You've mentioned it, so I have to think about that and see what we do there. But cool. Well, bummer on the Super Console X. If anybody watching has suggestions on where they got theirs and were they successful, and maybe point Mike a better direction on stuff, that would be great. You will be seeing we are now both up and cooking on ArcadeNet, so we're going to be working on playing some pinball together, doing some of the other stuff using the new lobby they've got in place to kind of do all that connecting there. So looking forward to doing some content on that. So that's coming. And as always, super interested in hearing from you. If there's games you'd like for us to review or other topics you want us to cover, we're down for it. Just let us know. So if you have any closing comments, feel free to make them.
Thanks, everybody. And of course, make sure you like and subscribe. Get us to 1,000 so we can have that party at Kelly's.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everybody.